Hello, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the question that I get asked most, where do you get your protein? So let's dive into that one in this video. Thank you again for joining me for another video. Today we're going to be talking about protein and my thoughts on protein and what I say to people who ask me that question. But before we begin, check out our ebooks. The code to get 40% off any or all of our raw vegan recipe ebooks is rawfood40. The link is in the description box below, so you can enjoy more raw meals in your life. You don't have to be a raw vegan to enjoy raw vegan food, so go check that out if you're interested. And today, as mentioned, we're going to be talking about protein. I got a question on my Instagram and somebody said, Lissa, what do you say to people when they ask you, where do you get your protein? So, I mean, there's a long story and then there's short answers to this. Sometimes I'll say, well, there's protein in everything. There's protein in plants. And I get enough, so sometimes it's as easy as that. Other times it can be complicated. It really depends on who you're talking to. I've heard some pretty good one-liners for the protein question, like I eat the protein that your protein eats, some other fun little ones that people like to say. But I personally really like to ask a question back to the person that I'm talking to. This is probably one of the more effective ways of getting the other person to actually critically think for themselves instead of you giving the answer. So if somebody asks me, where do you get your protein from? I will typically respond with a question and I'll say, where do you think I get my protein from? Honestly, like, I'm not trying to be mean here, but where do you think I get my protein from? Because I do get adequate protein every day. I make sure that I eat enough and that I eat variety, and I don't worry about my protein intake. So where do you think that I am getting my protein from? Do you know that plants contain protein? And stuff like that, like just asking them a question, using the Socratic method to get them to critically think. And if they really don't know where you're getting your protein from, then you can expand and explain a little bit more on that. So the average intake for a woman my size and height is around 46 grams of protein a day. So when they originally decided on the amounts that we need, it was doubled from the person who needed the highest in the studies that they had done. So they doubled it to make sure that they covered everyone, because they're like, well, what if there's somebody out there who needed more than the person who needed the most in the study? So they're like, well, let's just double it and then make sure that everyone is covered. Whereas most people don't even need what the RDA says because it's already set on the really high end. Another thing to keep in mind is that a lot of the studies that were originally done with rats about complete proteins are based on rats, not humans. So when rats were fed diets of either cow's milk, wheat, or corn, they experienced different levels of growth or illness based on what they were eating. So the rats that were eating the cow's milk were doing just fine. The ones who were eating the wheat kind of maintained their weight, but they didn't really grow very much. They weren't kind of slacking there. And then the ones who were eating the corn actually lost weight and some of them died. So when they did that original study a long time ago, they assumed that because humans must be the same as rats for some reason, that cow's milk is a complete protein because the rats grew and they flourished or whatever, so that was great. But they got sick on the wheat and corn, so they assumed also that wheat and corn were incomplete proteins. But when we actually look at the amino acid profile of wheat and corn, it's actually complete in all essential amino acids. We do have enough of those in those foods if we were to consume them for a human. Because another thing that they didn't do in that study was provide a fourth option, which would have been human milk. What if they fed the rats human milk, which is perfect milk for a human baby to grow and flourish? If they fed the rats the human milk, most of the rats would have died because the protein ratio in the human's milk is very different than cow's milk and different than rat's milk. So the ones that would have been fed the human milk would have died. Does that mean that human milk is worse than corn for human beings? Of course not. Humans are different than rats. So basing the complete protein myth on that one study showing that certain ones were incomplete for rats doesn't necessarily mean that they're incomplete for humans. So again, all of the plant foods have all the 9 essential amino acids that we need for healthy body functions. We just have to eat a wide variety of them to get a wide variety of nutrition. We can't just sit there and eat just one food, just mangoes forever, and think that we're going to get enough of what we need from those. We do need to eat a wider variety of foods so that we can get a wide variety of nutrition. And just because we have to eat a wide variety of foods doesn't automatically negate a vegan diet. People will often say, well, if you can't do one food, then it's not good. But that's just being really, really narrow with a justification not to eat plant foods. Because for a healthy diet, doesn't matter what diet you're eating, even if you are still eating animal products, you still have to plan and eat properly. You can't live on junk food or not eat any fruits and vegetables. Like, we really need to focus on planning our meals out and learning about our body and learning about nutrition, learning about what happens in our body when we eat certain foods. So the short answer is we get our protein from plants. Now, on a raw diet, it is a little bit more challenging to eat enough. The thing is that if you are under eating on any diet, it doesn't matter if you're raw, if you're vegan, if you're omnivorous, or what have you, if you are under eating, then you're not going to be getting enough of everything that you need every day for your body. Under eating is probably the number one thing that people do that causes them struggles and deficiencies down the road. Under eating is just not cool, and it's not going to help you. So if you are under eating, you're under eating amino acids, which are the building blocks for protein. You're also under eating fiber. You're under eating variety. You're under eating nutrition. You're under eating hydration. You're under eating a lot of things. So again, it doesn't matter what diet you're on, we have to make sure that we eat enough. And if somebody's only eating like 1,200 calories or 1,000 calories, then they're probably going to be deficient in the amino acids necessary for healthy body function, not because it's a vegan diet, because vegan foods have the essential amino acids that we need to build protein. We just have to eat enough of them, and we have to eat a wide variety. But this is common sense, and we do need to plan out healthy meals, no matter what diet we're on, but not to worry so much about the protein intake. If we're eating adequate calories from variety, it's very easy to get a wide range of nutrition, not just the amino acids to build protein. So for example, my protein goal, the RDA's double the limit, overestimate, is 46 grams a day for me. And I easily hit 65, 75 grams, sometimes 80 grams of protein a day. And I'm eating around 2,400 calories of fresh fruits, vegetables, greens, sprouts, microgreens, a little bit of nuts and seeds, some fresh herbs. I'm eating my food raw, and I am able to surpass the already overestimate of protein for the average woman my height and size. So it's definitely easy. Again, we have to eat enough. If we are under eating, then we're likely going to run into issues later on down the road, and protein probably won't be one of them. It's probably going to be other things that you're deficient in that are causing other issues. Protein's just one of the things that we can become deficient in if we do not eat enough. I've known people who've eaten I've eaten 800 calories in a day. Before, when I was stuck in diet culture trying to lose weight, I would cut my calories like under 1,200 trying to lose weight, but I was not eating enough variety or nutrition to sustain myself. Eventually, I would get to a point where I would just start eating everything and anything, and I'd go on a quote-unquote binge because I was severely restricting myself just to lose weight. And weight isn't really necessarily the best indicator of health. We see people who are super fit who are having heart attacks. We see people who are slightly overweight who have amazing blood levels. So weight is not the best indicator of health. We need to look at our blood tests, our urine tests, our microbiome tests, omega-3 tests. Like, get those done and see what's going on in your body and then adjust accordingly. So Know that there's enough protein in plants. We just have to eat enough of them and to eat variety. It's not hard. We already know it's common sense. We should just be eating a wide variety of foods anyways for a wide variety of nutrition. So when people ask me, where do you get your protein? I just say, in the stuff I eat. I eat enough, I eat variety, and I get enough protein. I'm definitely not worried about that. I am actually more concerned about people getting enough fiber, because if you're eating enough food, you're probably getting enough protein. You're probably getting way more protein than you need anyways, but 97% of the North American population is not hitting their pitiful goals of fiber every day. The RDA is like 30 grams or something like that, and most people, 97% of people, aren't even getting 30 grams of fiber a day. So fiber needs a lot more of the focus. Let's take some of the focus off the protein and more focus on the fiber, because if, again, we are eating enough fiber, we're getting a lot of greens and lots of vegetables in there. Sprouts are really high in protein. We're going to be getting enough protein because we're looking for fiber sources, and fiber comes with protein as well, comes with the amino acids that we need. So yeah, focusing on the greens and the sprouts are really going to help for people who are maybe concerned that they might not be eating enough, or that they do need more protein. Maybe if you're building muscle. The World Health Organization says 1 gram of protein per kilogram, not pound. Please don't do it by pound. I know there's some people out there who say 1 gram of protein per pound, and that's way, way, way too much. It's per kilogram. And this is already an overestimate. Remember, they doubled it from the person who needed the most protein in the study that they did way back in the day. So 1 gram per kilogram if you are active, like highly active. If you're sedentary, then it's like 0.8 grams per kilogram. So that's where they came with the 46 grams for a woman my size. And I think it's 56 grams for men, which is so easy to get if you eat enough. So again, sprouts, greens, vegetables are really great sources of protein. A small amount of nuts and seeds is really going to help as well. And there is protein in fruit, albeit not as much as with the greens. That's why it's important to have greens and vegetables along with your fruits if you're doing a raw vegan diet. But you've got your grains if you're doing cooked food, your starches have some protein in there too. It's really about eating enough and eating enough variety. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please click like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you want to get notifications for more, click the little bell and you'll get notifications whenever I post a new video. You can check out our ebooks, over 700 awesome raw vegan recipes, oil-free. The link is in the description box below. You can get 40% off any or all of our ebooks. The code is RAWFOOD40. Go check that out if you're interested in adding more raw food to your life. And until the next video, guys, again, I hope you enjoyed this one. I love you so much, and fruit on.